You know, it's amazing in hindsight that Tua Tagovailoa started 17 games in the 2023 season, but between 22 and 24, he missed 10. And when he doesn't play, the offense just falls apart. They haven't had a backup who can run the offense the way that Tua Tagovailoa does, which I think has caused some to realize maybe Tua's better than you think, because Tua can run that offense and no one else can seem to do it. They got a guy this year, though, that I believe, and I think you believe, can do it if needed, and that's Zach Wilson, who was signed as a free agent after his rookie contract expired. He was with the Jets 3 years, traded to the Broncos. Now he's with the Dolphins. Here's Chris Greer from yesterday on the decision to sign Zach Wilson over other options that might have been available.
We just felt like Zach had a lot of potential and a lot of talent, and I know, you could go the veteran route with someone that, more proven. Zach has won a few games. I know everyone's going to say, his record and stuff. But I think for us, in dealing with it and getting to know him, talking, once he signed and getting to know him and going through it and going back to the relationships people had with him prior to the draft when he came out, we just felt that in talking to him and some veterans that he was the right fit and right choice for us, because we do think that his skill set really fits what our offense does.
That's the key. That's the key. They prioritized this year finding a backup who can play the way that Tua Tagovailoa does. And you and I have talked about this before. And it's funny because if you suggest that Zach Wilson is anything other than horrible, you get dragged. But he has shown some flashes. And have we learned nothing from the late career ascensions of Geno Smith and Sam Darnold, although it's not that late for Sam Darnold, guys who were ruined preliminarily by the Jets? There's a chance Zach Wilson is the next name in this line of guys who were ruined by the Jets. He was 12-21 as a starter there. That's not Rich Kotite level. 12-21, okay, it's the Jets. The guy was the consensus number 2 pick. This was not a reach. This wasn't a what the hell are the Jets doing taking this guy, although Woody Johnson apparently thought so, because now he said it was Justin Fields or Trevor Lawrence in 2021. He didn't mention Zach Wilson. That's bullcrap. Wilson was consensus number 2, and now he's on Miami, and he can run that offense the way they need it to if and when, and it's more likely when than if Tua gets injured again.
Well, I mean, his biggest point of, defense is they went 5-12 with an awesome team and Aaron Rodgers. How do you think about that? And he had Devontae Adams. What do you guys think about that? Huh? Right? I mean, that's really all he has to do. And he can go mic drop. Boom. Now, I mean, listen, it's not that simple. He certainly didn't perform to the level we wanted him to. But, yeah, you're exactly right. There wasn't exactly the perfect support system for a young quarterback or anything in that organization to bring him up. You go with Sean Payton for a year. You show you play good in preseason football a little bit. I'm sure Sean Payton has told people behind closed doors, man, Zach Wilson, I like him. The Dolphins, you start to hear type of stuff like that. Like, man, Sean Payton's impressed with Zach Wilson. And I think this was a good move by the Dolphins. I do. Yeah, Tua's the guy. He's the man. But we know he's injury prone. And where they've made mistakes in the past is they haven't had capable backups, to your point, right? I don't think Mike White really fit how that offense was supposed to be run. Teddy Bridgewater was perfect one year, right? But he got hurt right away. And then they had to go right to Skylar Thompson. So that hurt them a little bit. I think they realized, yeah, if we go with something like a Skylar Thompson or again and Tua gets hurt, the wheels could really fall off here. Zach Wilson's got a good quick release. You know he's going to be pretty smart after just handling the Sean Payton offense and all of that. So, yeah, I like this move. This is one I think he's the perfect backup for this situation in that offense.
And Chris Greer mentioned that there were other veterans out there. Who are you going to get? That's the thing. To run the offense. And I was thinking of it last night. Carson Wentz, Taylor Heineke, Marcus Mariota. Those are the kinds of guys that have the skill set to move quickly and do the distribution and the sleight of hand stuff that they do behind the line of scrimmage. Well, how do you think Dolphins fans would have reacted to Carson Wentz, Marcus Mariota, or Taylor Heineke as the backup to Tua Tagovailoa? But you're not going to bring in a starter. You're not going to have co-starters. You've made the financial commitment to Tua. He's your guy. And we know from history what happens when Tua feels undermined, and that's okay. I'm not judging him. I'm just pointing out the year that he had Deshaun Watson hovering over him, it was a problem for him.
Right.
You don't want a guy there that's going to threaten Tua. You want a guy that's going to be the proper understudy. On the nights he can't go, you got another guy who can do what he does, who isn't otherwise trying to send Tua to the bench for good.
That's right. You're saying it right. He's the perfect guy. If he got to get in, he's got some talent. He's got a very quick release. He can really do some special things with those short throws, just like Tua can, and changing arm angles and doing all that type of stuff. That's where he's really good. But he is no threat to be the starter. He's still trying to cement himself as, hey, I could be a real good quality backup, and he's just waiting for his turn. And he's the perfect guy at practice, too, because, he's going to keep Tua on edge a little bit, because Tua's going to every now and then go, damn, that was a throw. Whoa, I better get on my game here today. This guy's making some plays and some throws here, right? So I better look good. And that's where I think he's a perfect setup there for everything they want in Miami. So a good job by Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel, who I know I've been a little critical of Chris Greer here during this segment.
Once they got Mike McDaniel, it felt like they had something special that was starting to grow. But then it reached its limit of growth. And now it feels like it's going the other way. And it feels like it's a loaf of bread that you got to pick up and check for mold on the bottom. I feel like we're getting very close to the point where there's mold on the bottom of the bread. And Stephen Ross is just going to go get himself a new loaf of bread. And it happens quickly in the NFL. But it feels like, we talk about windows closing. It felt like theirs was starting to open, and then it got stuck, and now it's closing again.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's going to potentially close fast. They can prove me wrong. They can prove me wrong.
Right.
But I think the Patriots are going to be dramatically better this year. The Bills are still the Bills. The Jets have a talented team. If Aaron Glenn can address some of the cultural things, the Dolphins could get left in the dust this year. They could.
Yeah, I agreed.
There's a chance.
It's going to be interesting to see here. It really is. And because I have the same pasta and meatballs kind of feeling and, spidey senses that you're talking about, Mike, no question.
Because if any adversity hits and Tyreek Hill's still there and Jalen Ramsey's still there because they couldn't find anybody to trade for him and they figure we got to pay him $20 million anyway, we may as well keep him. If adversity hits early, this is why the schedule is so important, because if they get a lot of tough games early and they get to 1-3, I just feel like there's going to be a critical mass in that locker room. Because whatever it was that got Tyreek Hill to say what he said after Week 18, that pressure and that stress and that discouragement melts away once you go a month without playing football games and not experiencing that feeling. That feeling starts up again in September, and you start losing. And if you know by the middle of October it's just done this year, it's not in the cards, what's going to happen? It's got the potential to be a hell of a reality show.
Yeah.
But the reality is for the Dolphins, it feels like it's far more likely to go sideways than it is to go upward.
Agreed. I'm with you there. This is a toppling or a tipping point, as they might say. And I'm interested too. And yes, I could see a bad start early in the year and it tipping in the wrong direction with some of the personalities they have in that team, and there's no controlling it or getting it back.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.